Y'all know what time it is. Conspiracy nights. Listen, I promised you guys that I was going to be covering this Ryan Garcia scandal of his failed PED test, and I was going to cover it day and night. Conspiracy nights. We must talk about the letter. Y'all know what letter I'm talking about. The VADA letter. Now, this letter was leaked by Dan Raphael on Twitter, well, X, formerly known as Twitter. And this is the official VADA statement, and I'm going to tell you why I said official in a minute. But I want to say this. It appears that the VADA letter states and proves that Ryan Garcia, there has been adverse findings found, two actually. Well, one is a possible. One for sure for the Asterine, which we all know that news now. The other is for blah, 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 19. I don't know the name of it. I'm sorry, you guys. But it's not confirmed yet. But there's a possible second adverse finding. But Dan Raphael is complaining on X, and he should be. The guy has been receiving threats from a lot of you Ryan Garcia fanboys. Listen, that is never cool, okay? To send threats to Dan Raphael, and he's been putting y'all on blast. People calling him a liar. Well, let me put on my conspiracy hat. Because Dan Raphael, I want to speak to you. Listen, Dan, the reason why they're calling you a liar, Dan, which I don't think you're a liar, and I do believe that this VADA letter is the official statement from VADA. I do believe that. But with that said, there's a reason why the fan base are calling you a liar. Look at the condition of the letter. Dan, you mean to tell me that they couldn't provide you with a better letter than this, Dan? Like, VADA, what were y'all doing? Look at the font. What did you guys type this on a typewriter, bro? Look at the ink. Forget the color of the letter. Maybe he took a picture of it from, I don't know, his computer screen. But look at the ink. Okay, it looked like somebody typed this up on a damn typewriter. So listen, you gotta understand. I'm not saying they should be sending you threats, Dan, but I understand because this is how a VADA letter looks. Okay, this is how it usually looks. All right, look how crisp this is. This is in 4K. Right, it's typed. You can see each letter. Right, it's clean and crisp. Now look at the shit Dan Raphael put. You get what I'm saying, right? So I'm saying, y'all, listen, Dan. If you wanted a better reaction, you should have asked VADA to supply you with a better conditioned statement. Cause that shit, that's probably why people are calling bullshit. And I'm here to say, with the conspiracy hat on, I'm here to say I believe that is an official statement, you know, and if it's not, I don't think Dan had anything to do with it. All right. So please, okay, take y'all foot out of Dan's ass for at least a moment. All right, give him a shot. He's just trying to give you guys. If it wasn't for Dan, we all wouldn't know this. All right. He was the first one to break this. So all respect to Dan Raphael. But I want to say this. I really want to say this. A few of you guys asked me if this scandal is good or bad for the sport of boxing. And I want to say it can either be good or bad. And I'm talking about it can either be great or horrible. And let me tell you what I mean, okay? It can be horrible for boxing because this Ryan Garcia performance over Devin the American Dream Haney in that fight, one-sided ass whipping, that went viral. I mean, Ryan Garcia brought eyes on the sport of boxing who usually just don't give a damn, all right? And if they weren't there that night, they are well aware of what happened in that fight. How I know? Because not only it going viral everywhere, you saw that the knockdowns and all that shit everywhere, and Ryan Garcia got super popular. But when this scandal broke, I ain't never seen a scandal. I mean, this is like the days of Mike Tyson. I mean, this is everywhere, all right? And it let me know how much range this fight had. So it could go horribly bad for boxing, because with so many new eyes on the sport, or even people who weren't really paying attention to the sport, who did before, something like this can make people say, that's why I don't mess with boxing. All right, like this, it's all WWE, it's all BS. Let me go back to UFC or football or whatever you were watching. Forget boxing. It can really hurt boxing that bad, all right? Or this scandal, if handled correctly, can be responsible for quite possibly the most successful, popular, biggest pay-per-view rematch in history. Like, this scandal can create a real demand for the rematch, to where Team Haney can be like, let's have this rematch, catch weight 143. And this time, don't you cheat. I mean, can you imagine the lead up to this? Bill Haney calling him a cheater. Ryan Garcia calling the Haneys cheaters, and talking about Victor Conte, and bringing up more of all that shit that made the first fight so popular. I mean, this is the sequel. And the sequel is going to have, just like a horror movie, it's going to have more blood, more deaths, more killer scenes.
The body count is always bigger. Number two, the death scenes are always much more elaborate. More blood, more gore. Carnage, candy. Your core audience just expects it.
This sequel can definitely just be more amped up than the original, especially with more eyes who weren't really there to watch the original live, but now have seen the viral, situation, all the viral shit after, right? Everybody like, oh my God, Ryan actually won. I didn't even want to watch that fight. Now they're like, oh, I can't wait for the sequel. So one or two things could happen here. It could be detrimental to the sport of boxing, or it can be responsible for the most successful pay-per-view rematch in history. Let me know how you feel in the comments below. ShowBizz for Adult. The Facts Friday tomorrow. I know you guys got so much to say. I'm going to let you guys do a lot of talking right in the war room. I'm going to make sure I put on a show. But you guys, I know you guys are going to have a lot to say. I'm going to be reading a lot of comments. All right? I'm out.